Whenever I work with clients in any of my programs, whether this is in the team program, Team on the Mission, or in the one-on-one coaching program from MetaHelm called Expert on a Mission, or, I haven't talked about it, I haven't announced it, but I'm gonna tell you now, or in the Change Makers program, MetaHelm Change Makers, coming up. I have just announced it to a few of you on my email list, but I'm going to do a video very soon about this program. So my point is, I was going on a tangent. My point is, whenever I work with you on any of these programs, I always advise that you build a client list. What do I mean by a client list? Well, it's a list of the ideal clients that you would want to work with. Either people who have told you that they want to work with, so they are inbounds, they came to you, or people that you seek to build a relationship with, so outbound, to the outside. So this client list can be a simple piece of paper, very rudimentary, or an Excel or Google Sheet document, or a more sophisticated CRM, customer relationship management software, such as HubSpot or Pipedrive, for instance. These are apps, they are applications that you could use to maintain your client list. And the reason why I insist that you have a client list and it's tied to building narrative power for your firm, for your business. The reason why is because I've noticed over the years that if we are lacking sales, if we're lacking contacts with customers, it's not because we typically don't have those contacts. It's because we forget about them. So we have to have a way to gather them in a place where we can remember people. How many contacts do you need in this list? It depends on the size of your firm, but I'll give you a pointer for a solopreneur firm like mine. Just a list of 100, just 100 really good contacts, really good people eager to work with you, knowing your work, that you keep informed about your launches, your services, your updates, your new approach, and what you're up to. A simple list of 100 people will generate enough business and more business than you can handle with a wait list. Now, if you are a team, maybe this list goes to 400 or 600 people. And then if you're a bigger firm, maybe there are thousands of contacts in there. But you don't need as many as you might think. In fact, it's probably because people think they need so many people that they get scared about building a list like that. They create resistance to tracking contact, to tracking people. And I was talking to a client who got finally excited about creating a list. He's using a software app called HubSpot that I just mentioned before. He's finally using HubSpot to build that list, and he's been using it just for a few days. And he told me, "Wow, this is incredible! I keep adding people that I forgot, that I know, that I forgot, that told me they're interested in my services." He does leadership coaching. And that tool for me is the best way to prevent what I call money leaks or sales leaks in your business. Businesses in general who don't have such a list, who don't have a tool like that, leak business because they forget leads and contacts and opportunities fell through the cracks. And when it's time to create more opportunities for your business, it's typically too late. Creating a list like this takes time. I work on my contact list every day. Every single day, I've learned to carve out even just a few minutes, sometimes just 1 minute. I open it, just like looking at my bank account. What is on my client list? Who is interested? Who has told me that they would be interested, they would be excited to hear from me? Who told me that they would want to hear about the next offer, or who has sent me an update, or who did I notice that is doing great work? There are all sorts of reasons I would be covering. I'll be covering in another video. But basically, I maintain that list as a daily habit, in my daily habit, as a daily process. When you do this, you realize that you know more people than you need. As I mentioned before, if I can create a solid list of 100 people, then I know that I am good. I'm in good shape. To do that, I need to then communicate with those people through publishing, through those YouTube videos that you see every day here on YouTube, through my email list, through phone calls, spontaneous email. I do talks, conferences, and so on. I mean, the number of channels that I use to reach out to people is very broad, and you should have a broad number of channels as well. I also strongly believe that a list like that needs to be built authentically. It's not about quantity, but quality. And that's the connection I was talking about at the beginning of this video, the connection with narrative power. If you practice authentic selling, you will consider the people that you want to sell to as your friends, and you will treat them with benevolence. And, back in the days, I used to have a little paper notebook in my pocket, always in my back pocket, with the names of the people that I know and the people I enjoyed spending time with their phone numbers. There was no email at the time. I always had this little booklet with me, and I was constantly updating it and constantly refreshing it, jotting down when I would call people and going through it and creating and nourishing and nurturing those relationships. So that practice of mine I've always been there. It's just that today I use a more sophisticated tool. I use actually Pipedrive. It's a great tool. It's inexpensive, and it enables me to set up reminders, organize my contacts through different categories, and manage them the way that I feel is authentic, in a way that creates true relationship, true benevolence. I schedule phone calls to inquire about people, how they're doing, just because I believe that when you build narrative power for your firm, you should do it based on a calling that is greater than you, and you should align all of your activities, including sales, with that greater sense of purpose, with that greater ambition that you have. That's a spiritual element almost, and that's the way I look at sales. Sales is a very, very ancient, to me, ancestral art, something very, very at the base of any human relationship. We have turned sales in the latest decades something that has a bad reputation, and that's unfortunate. But we can regain the positive reputation of sales. We can actually turn it into something that is full of positive energy if we look at it as a way to nurture relationships. And again, back to the connections I'm making here in this video. Having a client list is a tool to create those relationships and to build a narrative that is comprised of alignment, repeating similar messages, exploring similar themes, similar topics. When you have a client list, it enables you to keep track of who you would want to work with, who is interested in your message, and it helps you notice the patterns within your network tissue and how that narrative affects those people as well. When I think about narrative, I think about a system of stories, of behaviors, of rules, of norms. And the best way to visualize it is to be able to visualize it and visualize its impact and effect throughout your network. So when you have a list of current clients, former clients, potential clients, people who are following your work, people who send you messages, people who are collaborators, or people peers, colleagues, you can visually see, it is represented in front of you. You can visually see through the existence of all those people the ripple effects of your narrative, of the impact that you have on people. So that's how I look at sales. That's how I look at a tool like this list, not just to create abundance in my business, but also to create meaning and to be more aware of who I want to be surrounded with, who I want to serve, who I want to, what are the lives that I want to enrich, that I want to fuel, what are the relationships that I want to nourish. It might be a different view than most advisors have about sales and CRM. Typically, we think about customer relationship management system in a very cold way, how we're going to set it up, how we're going to maximize every relationship, how we're going to squeeze every dollar out of our time building this list. And I see it in a much more qualitative and human and spiritual way. I look at it as the network, the fabric of the people that we spend time with on this planet. And that's how you generate meaningful impact and more money through your sales activity. That's how you combine both at the same time, right? So build your list today. If you have one, maybe it's time to rethink how you do it. Again, it's not a question of quantity, it's a question of quality, authenticity. If you have a giant list of people, start weeding it out, start plucking all the contacts that you feel like are not aligned with your values, don't resonate with your narrative, are not interested in helping you achieve your mission, for instance. And it's okay if you remove them and then realize later that they should have stayed. You can always add them back, or they will come back to you naturally. But focus on the fewer, on a smaller number of people. And, small, it's still 100 people. That's a big list still, if you are alone. Focused on the key people that create that, that energy around your business, that fuels your business with energy, and also benefit from the energy that you give away with your services. All right, this is a unique and maybe very different very different approach to sales and creating meaningful relationship and managing a CRM. I know this is probably like, oh my gosh, you're like, what is he thinking? This sounds very different. Yes, I recognize it, but it really does work. And it not only work in terms of returns, of money, of monetary economic value, but it also works really, really well in terms of filling your life, fueling your existence as an advisor, as an expert, with more meaningful relationship. And that has no price to me. Like, this is really why we do this work, when we want to be a change maker expert and have an impact around us. All right, I'll leave you with those thoughts. Good luck creating your list. As always, I welcome your common questions, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.